Let me find the right scene. There we go. All right, welcome everyone. As promised, straight away back to like a weekly schedule. I have to say, it was complicated to set this up. Like people say, like, yeah, they can come on. Then people dropped off. Then I had Jay to come on, and you probably saw it in the ping. But Jay actually had to rush to the vet with his cat, which I think that's a good excuse. But then we had Asher to jump in for him, and Asher is gonna take over.
Always
And
the bridesmaid, never the bride.
and yeah, so the theme, as you can tell, I didn't bother to put all the guest names in the title. The theme today was basically I kind of want to end the stream with like a good set of predictions from as diverse of a set of guests as I could find. So we have like people with warmal experience, low sec, obviously null sec, even some Podgman, Cami. I mean, I don't know, Starfleet Commander, if you are like actively yourself in Podgman, but at least we can talk about it to a degree. You have some insight at least.
Yeah, a little bit of info.
All right.
I keep tabs on what my guys are doing. I do keep an eye on like what everyone's doing.
And you know what? The hardest space to find people for is actually HiSec. But Captator, I know, has played around in HiSec before, just like some war deck stuff and so on.
Blighting my record there.
But yeah, so we like that's the goal for this too, that at the end of the day we're gonna have some good predictions for 2022. We're just gonna predict the future perfectly, obviously, right? Everything we're gonna predict is gonna come true. So I hope you guys got like
No
Liquid
pressure.
Disk and your Jita tunes logged in, right? You better be quick. But yeah, for those who wonder who the guests are, I'm gonna give everyone a super short introduction as we always do, right? So we have Starfleet Commander, has been on a couple times, Volta CEO, well-known FC. Volta has been in like low sec, null sec. They have lived in Thera for a while, which I think is kind of a unique. There's no other group that has lived in Thera for that long. Then, obviously now they have a SIG in Podgman. Starfleet Commander is not necessarily the leader of that SIG, but might just give some insight, like I said.
And the Lance tournament.
Oh yeah, I should say another thing that I forgot to mention actually. Mark Resurrectus, he couldn't make it in time, so he might just jump in the middle of this, right? But to give him an introduction when he shows up, he's a wormhole guy. So I had him on last time for the CSM elections because I wanted to kind of give the wormhole guys a platform and see if like one guy stands out as a good candidate, and then give people a way to vote for a wormhole guy. And I think Mark kind of stood out in that regard. He's the CEO of a smaller corp in wormhole space, and he might just run for CSM next year again. And then we have Captator, also has been on before. This or like the ex CEO, no. Well, were you the CEO
I
of
I just push papers around and show my face on things.
But you're mostly known for your role in Dead Terrorists, who have been doing all kinds of stuff. Smaller or like maybe up to mid-scale group. Who even, like I mentioned before, dabbled in HiSec a little bit to, play around with that mechanic, which was kind of, we were there in one fight. We fought with you guys, and
Yeah, it was good fun.
it was good fun. Yeah, it was surprisingly fun. So we have some HiSec input there. And then, of course, we have Asher, who, I don't know, has been on like 3 or 4 times too.
I represent a small gang PvP and solo roaming and mining ships.
Yeah, well, I was about to say main FC of Boons, but an underrated theory crafter. How about that?
Thank you.
Right. Last time I introduced you as like the winner of the war and all that stuff, right? Like
I was wearing a lion pelt on my head last time.
I know. And then, of course, the co-host, the Brötchen herself, is also with us. And yeah, and then you got me. I might just have an opinion too. Alrighty.
Oh no.
So I kind of want to start with talking about like stuff that's like a little bit more up to date that just happened, and especially when it comes to the AOM stuff, like the Army of Mango stuff. I don't know if there's like too much to talk about, but I think the big question that comes up when a group like that disbands is always, are we losing too many like smaller or medium-sized groups in the game? I mean, I think I know the answer, but maybe.
I don't know, Pando. I think go look at Dotland and see the top alliances, and you tell me. But by
Well,
member count.
I mean, like, I would always make the argument then if we don't take him, then, someone else will.
Here's my question for you, Starfleet. Were
Yeah.
you there to help them when they were about to be evicted? I mean, that's why you merge into larger groups, is so you have
What,
protection.
Cloudring? Like,
Well,
who's getting evicted?
AOM.
No. Why? They're not part of. I'm not friends with them.
That's what I'm
Like-
saying, though. Like, if they're working in their best interest, right? Like they're
Right, no, but
they're
AOM and
attempting to.
RR are owned by the same person. So it's not. They are effectively the same alliance before this anyway.
Is
Like,
that the
they-
case? I don't even know.
Yeah. 100%. They are the same. I'll just say it. I'm pretty sure that it's the same. They are just the same. There's just some weird things going on in the background, but they are just run by the same person, pretty much. They're just two different names. I'm pretty sure that is. I'm actually very certain that is the case. They're not actually. There's nothing lost. What you're alluding to, Pando, is all the other alliances in the game, like yours, are just scooping up all other groups. And like Horde are doing it from Test. Test is gonna fall apart because like Gobbins is gonna just hoover everybody up because that's what he's gonna do. And you guys are gonna make Fountain Delve 2.0 because you're gonna hoover up everybody. You even put your Alpha Corp in the alliance.
Who did we hoover
Like
up?
to put the numbers up. It seems like it. Oh yeah. I'm sure it's the same for like Gobbins, Caesar to manage. Just put all of the alliance corps in the same alliance. Good. Like
Mando, I think you muted yourself. They said.
Is he?
Oh shit! I did mute
Oh
myself.
no.
Guys, we got it.
Now I can just like completely have a go at him.
Yeah.
Wait. What were we saying? Oh yeah. So like, why would you want the number to be high? Like we wouldn't, get the number high. We just like did it to,
Good PR. Look how big our
make it
alliance is.
easier, because if you have two different alliances and you want to move around and then set standings, and it's all like you have to do it twice basically, right?
Brave Alliance has
yeah.
15,000 people in it, so
10,000 people.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
They
It's all
never
downhill.
purged, you know,
the
they
mark
have
has arrived.
the number.
Test
Oh,
is
no.
nearly down to 10,000. Brave is
I'm
at
Pando now.
10,000. The
Test is people actually fleeing
dream
the
has
ship.
come true.
Like, they're actually losing people.
like the alliances that are on the up is Frat, Horde are going up. Frat is taking over everything, and now we got a Ranger Regiment are going to be like nearly at what 10. There's nearly 10k I think now with AOM into them, so they're the other Chinese side, right? And then Initiative are doing the same, and even NC, they absorbed Recon, right?
I mean, that's certainly what I and a lot of other goons were saying at the start of the war, was that is going to be the outcome at the end, where Frat and Horde are going to come out on top, no matter what the actual situation is at the end, and it's basically worked out that way.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I always thought, I can't remember how I said this to you, but like I thought Gobbins, like even win or lose this war would be okay, because like they'll just absorb the remnants of Test, just like get stronger that way.
Yeah.
And if they win, they win. If they lose, they just get more members anyway. So it doesn't really matter. I mean,
yeah, it was a win-win. I mean, obviously, Test leadership is sort of the dumbest one out of all those people, because they didn't realize this, and the person who pushed them most into the war now is in Horde. So I don't know, like, what do you what do you say about that? But
I'd say, like,
Yeah, but here's the thing: is like you say, like, oh, it sucks that the medium-sized groups are like getting absorbed, but like you have to, if you want to be a medium-sized group, you have to be okay with just never really having a place that you can call your home, right? Like where if someone looks at you sideways, then you have to be okay with being evicted, and like
or you
or
put a keepstar down
uh-huh.
in Fade with the hopes that somebody will come and attack you.
I mean, you'll get your wish
That's what you
eventually,
do.
right? It's
Oh,
just
we are working. Can someone attack us, please?
it's just a ticking time bomb, or the
Yeah,
ticking
yeah.
clock, I should say. But like that's the thing is like if you want, I would love for there to be a lot of like healthy medium-sized alliances. But I also am pretty aware of what human nature is, and people will go to the place where they feel like where
So,
they feel safe.
so I totally agree that it is kind of human nature. The game does promote it a little bit too, right? Let's not kid ourselves. But then also the idea would also always be that for every mid-sized group or small-sized group that merges into a bigger group, there should be a new one coming up that grows into that slot, you know? And I think that's the part that's missing right now. I don't think
Do you think
there's...
this game is growing and adding new people to fill that role?
No.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, when all the Doctor Who fans get here, maybe. But,
Oh my god.
They're gonna come in there fucking
Ooh.
TARDIS. To answer the question, I'd say no, because it is so hard. Okay, and I'm gonna say that, you know, my group is like one of the only groups in the game now in NullSec that is a medium-sized group. Right? We're not actually that big, considering like, you know, all the people around us and across the galaxy. And it is, you know, the only reason why we were able to take the space is because it was like, you know, there were some people that lived here, but they were quite, you know, unorganized or whatever. And, you know, we tend to like run a lot of ults and stuff, and, you know, try and, you know, we were fighting you guys in the Cloud Ring for a bit, and then you brought, you know, goons along, and then we just couldn't kill your hacks fast enough, and then you kill all the structures. So that's basically what happened. And it, you know, it just like I remember one battle, like we were fighting, and then at the end you had more ships, like more people, like more. We killed more, and then there was more. I was like, oh, this is insane. Like it's too many hacks.
Well, it's not like the other side didn't have like bad phones and stuff, you know?
Yeah, I mean we don't. I ain't bat phone them. Not me.
You know what? Man, it kind of
I'm not
leads
getting
me
involved.
to talk about Citadels again, but the defensive advantage kind of forces you to outnumber already.
It's
right?
true, yeah, it's true, and that's
then
why
you
one
always
of the
look
reasons-
like a fool. If you lose with equal numbers, you look like an idiot. If you win with more numbers, then, you know, like, who gives a shit, right?
And here's my
So it's
Citadel
like-
proposal. And this is simple and easy. I think easy to do. Get rid of bomb launchers on all Citadels, except maybe the Keep, I guess, and give Astras like a mini PDS. Like I think the bomb launcher really changes a lot of what you have to do when you're fighting a Citadel.
Yeah, should I talk about what we had actually ready to go for the war with the bomb launchers and stuff?
Yeah, I don't think that there's a
I don't think nobody's. So what our idea was too is like, so the bomb launcher, there's a couple of things with it that you have to get right, but basically what it comes down to is you can bomb a gate constantly with a Citadel. You can. And it's very easy to set up. One guy can just do it, and you can just constantly bomb a gate. Now, think about the 3-D gate situation where hostiles would just pile up on that gate and wait for the right moment to jump out. Well, it's very easy to time for us too, right? Just fucking bomb the gate constantly. And it would be so cheap on top of it. Just Astra houses at range at 1,200, which is the sweet spot, basically. You can just constantly bomb the gate with like 4, 5, 6, probably more, probably 7 or 8 bombs at a time constantly, and they don't kill each other, and it's way more damage than normal bombs. And it's like you would not be able to sit on that gate for like even a minute, right? You just die right away. So it's more OP than people might even think, right? There's so many things you can do with those bombs that, you know, that has not even been the meta yet, right?
There's I think the bomb launcher just changes things a lot. First off, like it's really all drone doctrines are out, right? Like you want to drop sentries, well, you can't, right? Like just can't do it. And the
Hey, no, you can do it defensively, Asher. We did it. We do ESs. on structures.
Well,
You-
defensive.
Only defensively.
Huge
Yeah,
structure.
if you don't get PDS'd or bombed,
Like-
you can
like,
use
only
launchers.
defensively.
Yeah, you can
Oh well,
launch
yeah. I mean, you're
drones.
in control of the bomb launcher, then, right? Like, yeah.
Yeah,
No, I'm
yeah,
talking about if you want to siege something in a
Oh,
drone
no,
doctrine,
no.
the bomb. Yeah, and I think that like that'd be a really simple change. It seems like that's what we're gonna get these days is simple changes. Like we're not getting a lot of dev time for game improvement. It's like you get dev time for NFTs and Doctor Who.
We're not getting
Um,
game improvement.
Yeah. So- Are we getting into predictions already?
We're getting
not yet, not yet.
convergence.
Also, I want to give Mark a chance to say something. I already gave you an introduction to everyone, so most people should know like who you're, what you're doing. And
Nice. I introduced myself to your chat by getting banned almost immediately for linking my merch website. So
Oh, is that you? Sorry.
it was
Lol.
me.
All I just saw like a random advertisement and
Listen,
like
I
she's onto that stuff. She's like,
I
pow,
can't-
pow.
I can't rely on these Germans to defend my right to promote reckless capitalism in Twitch chats. It is what it is. I'm
well,
a
if
captain
you
of
put in
industry.
an
Oh my gosh, I'm
unban
back.
request, then I'll unban you.
You did get banned by an American, though. I just want to
That's true.
That's
That's true. It's domestic violence. Hello, everybody. How y'all you doing? I'm sorry I was late. Things kind of popped off in a big way for a few minutes, but we are resolved.
You're unbanned, by the way.
Oh, cool. Thank you. I'm back.
Is it
Drop the link again. Drop the link again, coward. Do it.
is it fair
Oh
to
my-
say that fights in Wormhole space are at the moment they're so rare that when something happens, you can't miss out?
It's hard to say. Like, Wormhole Space is in a weird spot right now because the last 2 years have been so like tempestuous out here. Tempestuous.
Tempestuous.
Thank you, tempestuous. I wouldn't say that they are rare, but fights on certain scales are rare. And you know, the fight that we just had, when you have, you know, well over 150 tunes on grid, and you have capital involvement, those are certainly rare. And you know, and it has a lot to do with, you know, preparation and expectations. You know, if you you know, one of the biggest memes in Wormhole space and really anywhere is doing all the work to set up for a big fight, and then you know, somebody brings the fight and then you know, tuck tail and run kind of situation. You never want to be the person who has to tell their line members that, yeah, no, we're just going to stay docked up this time, guys, don't worry about it. So when the fight happens, you got to be there. And unfortunately, that fight happened 10 minutes before we were going to start. So
Yeah, and you were rushing home to make it, and you're like, ah, shit, there's a fight.
yeah, well, yeah, I got the ping in my driveway, and I was like, oh, okay, well, that's not great. As I sent you the message, but the you know, what I love, and what, you know, what I have seen over the last couple of years is that, or the last couple months specifically, is that, you know, it's easy to be demoralized about the state of the game, and it's easy to kind of be, you know, bitter vet about sort of where we're at. And certainly CCP has done its fair share of dumb bullshit to get us into this position. But you know, we still, I mean, people are eager to do game stuff. I mean, people want. I guess what I'm trying to get at is I'm not disheartened about the state of the game, because the people who play the game are still eager to play the game. They just want better opportunities to play the game in a more engaging way, right? So, you know, when they're given those opportunities, like just now, you know, people really show up for that, and they get excited about it. So, yeah, I can't feel bad about that. That's pretty cool. And then, yeah, hell, those fucking fights are great. And what am I going to say? It's not, you know, it's is what it is. So I'm sorry I'm late, Pando. Please forgive me.
I forgive you. I forgive you. And Brisk, I'm
Thank you.
drinking Zödler Export Gold. Right. Try to find that. That's too local, I guess.
Yeah.
All right.
What were we talking about?
We were talking.
We're
Were we talking
about Citadels. Actually, I want to touch on that quickly. Actually, you know how you're saying there's not many medium-sized groups, and it's really hard to get in as a medium-sized group, and that is true, because it's literally impossible to attack anybody, because as Pando said, defender's advantage, and you either have to commit shitloads to kill the Citadel, If you don't have the numbers, you can't kill the Citadel because the defenders always have the advantage. So you have to bring more ships, which is like impossible. So you have to always be a massive alliance. So it's like catch-22.
Yeah.
Like,
So what would the
then if
dream
you're the
scenario
defender
be?
And they bring you're the defender and they bring more. The defender's like, well, that's not fair. They bat phone people. We should bat phone people, and that's how the chain starts.
the dream scenario is, Pando, is that there are no Citadels. That's just the stupidest
There
idea
are
ever. That
no
CCP
Citadels.
Citadels should have never been put into this game.
All right.
Period.
So wait a second.
No Citadels.
But you could always. So my argument was always there should have been a hard limit to Citadels. And guys, I don't want to get stuck on this stuff too much, but like if you have a Citadel here and there, it's totally fine. Like, not as rare stations. You can have some more, but at the same time, if the Citadels are designed the right way, it's not that big of a deal either, right? Like it's like there's so many things that are wrong. Like, so I think if you get the Citadels right, it's totally fine to have them in the game. But yeah,
I don't know. Like High did a post right 6 months ago, right, and a bunch of the FCs in the game signed it. I did, and like, loads of people did. Asher, did you sign
I did
it?
too. Asher did.
No, did you not?
Asher did not.
I don't think so.
There's a bunch of us, and he did a massive write-up about it, and Citadels was a big part of it, and had a lot of good points. And why hasn't anything been implemented? Why hasn't CTP done anything about it?
6 months.
Like,
wait a second, but 6 months.
They've known that Citadels have been a bad idea for the last forever since they came out.
I know, but so if you bring up though that timing of like 6 months ago, the post was made, then I have to I don't want to defend CCP, but like I have to say 6 months, it's just not long enough of a development cycle, especially with like Christmas and that shit in between, to actually get it right. Because I think when it comes to Citadels, you can't just say like, you have to imagine it's like a car where if you only fix one thing, it will always then break another thing. You know what I mean? Like if you just changed like one cylinder or whatever, right? It's going to break something else if you drive with it. So you kind of have to exchange like so many things at once to get it fixed. You can't just fix like one thing and then say now it's all done, because the basic mechanics, some of them are just not right. I think. I
agree and I disagree, because CCP I was today at work. I was watching a bunch of the trailers, right, of EVE Online, and just going through them all and looking at them from like 10, 12 years ago, and just seeing how they've changed. And how we had like Crucible and like Inferno, like that had patches and stuff that had loads of little changes and stuff, lots of updates, lots of little tweaks here and there to like keep the game going and keep it fresh and keep it moving. And now we just get, this quarterly thing that doesn't. It's always like a big thing, but they're missing the core mechanic of the game and the mechanics of the game, and they're just forgetting about the mechanics, which is the main thing, not just abyssal space, which just takes people out of the game and they go and rat somewhere that no one can get them or some shit. Like, I don't know, like I just feel like they're missing. Citadels are not new. They've been around in the game for so long, and yet they've had not really any major. Oh, they did cores, but like even then, it's not really changed their power. I mean, someone said in the chat, "Oh, hundreds of CubeSats have died." I was like, yeah, that's because half the game. All the game, apart from Goonswarm and the Imperium, ganged up on one group and managed to kill that. That should not be the case, right? Does everyone agree? Like I'm going
to tell you two things that are very true, and CCP won't tell you, but this is the truth. First off, CCP believes deeply in their core that any player who quits, who already played for more than 6 months, will come back, no matter what. That's a deep core held belief that you are addicted to the game, and no matter how they change things or not, you will come back. They also believe that no matter what the changes they do, people will be unhappy with them, which is why we have like this terrible soft system that we've now had longer than the previous one. But they won't make changes to it because it'd be a lot of work, and they decided, first off, you won't like the change, that whatever they do change, you won't like it. And secondly, even if you unsub because you're unhappy, you'll be back within 6 months to a year. That's like their core business tenant.
That's not true though, because so many people that I know, like the old people and old leadership and members, have just quit.
I've talked to some people who are like intimately familiar with the way CCP thinks, and this has been stated to them over and over again that it doesn't matter if people quit. These people who are threatening or like resigning their accounts, they'll be back. They're always come back. Our data shows they come back, so it doesn't matter. That's what CCP.
Well,
I mean, some of them
they
for
should
sure,
they
right?
should look at the player count then. Are they nuts? Like,
here's what will kill the game.
If they
This is what
really
will kill the
believe
game.
that, we're all lost.
This is what will
Let's
kill
be
the game.
honest.
Is if this fourth quarter report comes out and they made more money than the previous quarter. If the whales are still making the money, then they don't care. They won't care like at all about how we feel. They're making more money. So when the fourth quarter earnings come out from Black Pearl or whatever, then and shows the CCP breakout, that's when we need to see, have they lost money compared to the third quarter? If so, we might see some changes. If not, it doesn't matter. What we say doesn't matter.
then that's a shame, because all of us here on the stream have played this game for a long time, and we're still playing this game because we care, right? We all care about the game and want it to be good and fun. And I'm sure everyone here is just disappointed at the fact that the player count's dropping. Like it's obvious that CCP have no fucking clue like what to do or where to go or any direction, just from the trailer that everyone's got. I mean, Reddit, just look at Reddit, look at the banner. Like, clearly, like, they just don't know what they're doing anymore. They're just...
Yeah.
What?
I think they know exactly what they're doing.
Do they? Oh,
they're just...
well,
I would love to hear.
Okay, well then let me tell you. I think that what their focus is constantly bringing new people to the game. Therefore, they've shifted their focus from keeping people who have this specific play style, which is the PvP, whether it be like no black PvP, like wormholes, whatever. They don't care about the old player. They're focusing on bringing in the new player, which is why they're going through all of this Doctor Who bullshit, why they're going through all of this new stuff, because they want to bring new people into the game. They don't give a shit about how the 12-year-old Eve player feels about Citadels. They give a shit about getting new subscribers and bumping up those numbers.
Then they're gonna kill the game doing that.
That's fine. But that's just I mean, that's not fine. Like, that's not what I mean. But I mean, to them, like, they're more worried about getting new subscribers than they are about like what you bitter vets think about the game. And that is like shit, but at the same time, I just think that's how it is for them.
I think I agree with you, but not necessarily for the reason that you mentioned. I think they do know what they're doing, and I think what they're doing is looking at the game as something completely different than what the average player or even
what the old player is like holding on to of what Eve used to be.
I think they see Eve as a piece of technology. I mean, I feel like that's why there's so much work going into the back end on trying to maintain stability and all the work that the art team does. I think that they see Eve as something that is monetizable because of the things that it is capable of doing, right? That's why when they promote the game, they talk about, oh, there was this huge fight in Delve and there were 7,000 people on grid. And it was so impressive. Look at all these screenshots that we took, without talking about the fact that it was miserable because of the Keepstar grid or this, that, or any other thing. Like,
they were in 10% tie-dye for 8 hours.
Yeah,
like,
I think I don't feel like they,
at the same time, you can't expect someone to shit on their own game. You're
not going to market that way.
I think that's mental though. Because like they go on about players, and now they're doing some Doctor Who thing of the story. It's like, well,
yeah. I think those are two separate groups, though. Honestly, I think the people who did the Doctor Who shit and the people who are doing like the Players of Eve shit are two different think tank groups.
Yeah, I mean the Doctor Who thing is a marketing thing, right? Like that's if you can tie 100%. In with the BBC. I'm sure they probably thought it was a windfall. Oh, look at all this publishing we can get because we're tied now to this BBC flagship sort of deal. And like
it's the marketing team, Mark, right? It's the same thing. The same team that does all the other trailers. The same team that markets Eve is free. The same team that markets, This is Eve, and all the trailers that are about the players and what we do and what we've accomplished. And now they're just deciding to do some.
But the people, I can tell you from personal experience, having done a commercial, that the group that does those commercials is like 3 people on CCP.
Well, and the other thing too is that you have to consider that a lot of those, and this is just a business thing, right? A lot of those decisions on a marketing level generally don't come from within marketing. They come from marketing management, or they come from product development, or they come from the executive level, where you have people who say, "Oh yeah, we've got this great idea. I was talking with so and so, and they think that we can put together this package that we can then ship out, and we'll get this kind of quarterly return on it."
It's people who are completely disconnected from the actual
right.
player
And then they go
experience.
to marketing, and they say, "We need you to market this," right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just like anything else. Like in my job, we our marketing department, the work that they do, very little of it actually comes from within marketing. There's not a whole lot of, there are marketing analysts within marketing who look at the kind of work that they've done in the past, and what kind of improvement have we seen on our product sales since then. But in general, a lot of those grand scheme kind of ideas come from either think tank kind of groups, or from industry analysis. And so someone along the line in at CCP, or within one of those groups, said, what would be really great if we could tie our product in with a major broadcasting media resource,
sci-fi thing.
Yeah, what's one that we could get that would not cost us a ton of money, and would bring us a lot of press, and then they rolled the dice, and somebody watched Doctor Who one night, and that's how we ended up with this. So
I was gonna say,
also Pando, just real quick, people are saying Mark is too quiet. If you want to bump him up.
Yeah, I could just do this if that helps.
Oh, that's much better.
Just get a real.
That's much better.
Then I know what you're about to say, SFC, and I agree with you. I fully agree with you. I think it's dumb bullshit.
He's predicting. It's the prediction show.
I know what you're gonna say.
He's
predicting what I say.
Exactly.
I think argue both sides of this.
That's not what we meant.
I think,
I just talk. I just sit. Yeah.
No, I think it's absolutely dumb bullshit, right? You're right. They'll kill the game that way. But I think that, and this is what's so disappointing about it. I think the problem is that you have EVE is very corporate now. The days of the community devs having as big a hand in the product or the development of the product as they have, I don't feel like we live in that world anymore, which is extremely disappointing. Whether or not that's something that we can change as like a player base because of our the way our involvement is with the developers, I don't know. And Pandas, people are going to keep paying money for it. Ashley, you made the point that if the whales are still providing blubber, like they're gonna nothing's gonna change, right? And I think that's as long as EVE is a marketable piece of technology that they can then monetize, I feel like we're not going to see anything change, and we just sort of have to deal with it in the meantime, which is disappointing. But
all right,
they've got strong precedent for the sort of slow entropic soup death of an EVE server, though, haven't they? In the Serenity version 1, which is basically if you end up in a place where there are no player narratives that are explorable on a reasonable scale, the players just stop because the server has no. Everyone wants to be, if not the protagonist, then part of the main party that follows around the protagonist in their story. That's one of the reasons Dungeons and Dragons is so popular, right? And if you haven't got those stories to explore, because everyone is under the same banner, that's where this ends with the existing mechanics. We know this because it's happened before.
I think the biggest testament to the player base is the fact that the game has lasted this long anyway, because the points that have been made already are really important. That should torpedo a game, and yet somehow EVE continues to persist, right? Like I think that is
people,
right?
Because there are people, like some people in this channel, and probably watching, like some people in chat that are high level people that have played the game for so long and have just kept communities together. And you need like 10 people to keep like 30,000 players staying together. Like, and that's the only reason why giant groups still exist. And that is why this game, my first prediction, is going to end up like Serenity in about 2 years' time. It's just going to be 4 giant blocks, and that's it. They're in the game.
It's always been 3 or 4 giant blocks.
Yeah, but EVE just alliances Asher. That is it. Like, just goons, frat, horde, and then
wait
Russians.
a second. I want to set this up for everyone listening and watching. So I told everyone who is on today to have 2 predictions ready to go. So one to be like a reasonable prediction where everyone could probably agree. There could be some discussion, and we will talk about all these. And then one of them should be like a bold one, right? So I would say, I'm pretty sure what you just dropped was a bold prediction, right? So I mean, you probably see it's a reasonable, like from your
It's
attitude.
reasonable. It's
I think
happening now. It's happening, Pando.
I know it's
It's happening.
if everything continues the way it is in 2 years, I think it probably is reasonable to say that.
Like, I'm sorry, like Initiative, you're doing it. You're scooping up people. We've just saw
Hey, don't blame
AOM.
us.
It doesn't matter. Like everyone's doing it, and you guys are doing it because the enemy are doing it, and that makes complete sense. Because Horde's doing it, and Horde's going to scoop up Test, and
We're not scooping
NC.
people up. They're coming to us.
Yeah, that's fine. It
They're
doesn't
coming,
matter
the
if
good
they're
guys.
coming or they want to come to your alliance or you're trying to get them. It's the plan. I mean, NC are doing it. I wouldn't be surprised if like Vince eventually just quits and just like NC just fold into Pan Fam. I mean, PL who? I mean, like they're gonna go at some point, and everyone's gonna go, and we'll go. Volta will go. We'll get kicked out of where we live, and we'll just probably that'll be it. I don't know. Like it's a matter of time before it's just happening. Like it's so obvious. You can just look at Dotland, and you can see all these corps like joining. Another one joined P Horde today. Like from where they come from Synergy still. Okay, it's just there's slowly
Volta
and
gets
surely.
evicted, and there's 4 alliances in the game.
So let's make it very specific. Let's make it very specific. You say the soft map is going to show 4 major alliances. Let's say there's like little blips here and there. Like let's say.
Okay, maybe there's gonna be like because who the hell wants to live in Cloud Ring, or who wants, that's literally a problem right now. No one wants to live there.
Yeah,
that's literally a problem. Or like there'll be some places, but like I envision like the drone lands as P Horde, the north as Frat, the southwest and the east as you guys, and then probably the rest of the probably
that's
Fire or
the
somebody.
Case if you want.
Yeah, but like as one alliance, there's just one alliance that
okay,
owns the whole thing because eventually it's like, well, why be in separate alliances? We'll just be in one alliance,
Yeah. So basically saying the soft map is going to clean up a lot. All right.
Yep. Because that's what happened to Serenity.
Yeah. So that's but that's your reasonable prediction. Okay.
That's my reasonable prediction.
All right. Who else has a reasonable prediction?
I split the difference on my insane prediction and my reasonable prediction and went for 2 not that insane but also kind of insane predictions instead.
All right.
I can give you one if you'd like. It's a little bit more
do it.
Aspirational, optimistic than
that would be nice after Starfleet Commander. We need a bit of optimism here. Let's go.
So
I'm not here for optimism.
How many of you guys know what Griffin Ball is?
I do. Yeah.
I feel like I've heard that.
Griffin
wait,
Ball.
wait. So that again.
Oh,
sorry?
yeah.
Griffin Ball.
It's
Gryffindor.
Griffin Ball.
Griffin Ball.
Slytherin.
Is that the one you play with tractor beams?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Oh no, I don't know.
Awesome.
Sorry.
Okay, so I step in if I get this wrong, but Griffin Ball is you have 2 teams of Griffins. You obviously have a jammer and you have a tractor beam, and you have a can and you have 2 goals, and the idea is that you tractor the can through the goal. And obviously the other team attempts to stop you doing it. And I actually think that this would make an absolutely excellent Abyssal event in 3v3 or maybe 5v5 config.
Kind of would.
It's we've played it before where you are able to use guns too, and then you can just reship as soon as you get blown up. But yeah, you're just in frigates, you ECM the other team, and you try and tractor beam a can back to the goal, and it's great. It's a really good. That would be very cool.
I like that.
You could even have a lead.
I'm sending that to Swift after this.
We used to play it on the test server before AT practice. That was
there should be something like EVE Olympics. Actually, so Blizz and I were talking about stuff like ages ago for Init, like the Init Olympics, and we didn't call it Griffin, but we just limited the mods you could use. And I think we actually took ECM out, but you could have webs and all that stuff and whatever ship you wanted or whatever. but we call it tractor pulling or whatever, right? And there's like other, like if you add like other games to it, you could just make like a shit ton of fun games and just make like the Eve Olympics. That probably would be fun.
I think it would.
Don't say that. They need to fix the game. Stop giving
Well,
them
no.
Stop
That's
it.
that's for the
They're gonna do
players.
it.
That's for the
They're
players
gonna
to
do
do.
a cross with Rocket League or something at some point.
Wait. What was the prediction
Stop it.
actually now? That
Hey,
we're
the
gonna see this?
prediction was that they would make an abyssal tournament
event.
for Griffin Ball.
That's a specific one. Holy shit.
I
I
think
mean,
that would be
the tie-in with Harry Potter is very, very obvious, right? So I agree with that.
They're gonna do a Harry Potter crossover next.
Yeah, cause Griffin Ball, right?
It's just because it's Griffin.
And slither in, you know, that's when you whoop in.
somebody in chat mentioned a Rocket League crossover.
That's a bold prediction, I'd say.
Yikes!
My reasonable
Yikes.
prediction was that we will see more crossovers and other like businesses and corporations kind of be incorporated into Eve as they try to monetize that side of things.
Is that a reasonable prediction? It's at
I
your.
don't know.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
I'm
Well-
trying to make it a reasonable prediction.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
I
I would.
consider it a reasonable prediction.
Yeah, I think it. I mean, it probably is.
Raid Shadow
Raid
Legends.
Shadow
exactly.
Legends,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, that's
It's
exactly
gonna be
what you said.
advertised in
Yeah.
Jitter. Raid Shadow Legends.
Shadow Legends.
I just wonder with the backlash coming from the Eve community and apparently from the Doctor Who community also a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
But they don't know what the fuck Eve Online is, so
Yeah.
like, what do they
Yeah,
care?
but
Well, they
I would
seem-
say
they-
the next ones would be like a little hesitant to team up. You know what I mean?
They seem.
I don't think it'll be something as big as Doctor Who
Hmm.
next time, because from what people were saying is they like Eve Online was approached by the Doctor Who people to create
Yeah.
this crossover. I think CCP is going to be like, okay, we want to do this again. They'll seek out something else on their end. They're not going to be able to grab a fish as big as Doctor Who, so it'll be smaller stuff. It'll be like start monetizing and producing Quaif by Coca-Cola or something like that. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it'll the tie-ins will be less and less in universe. It's just like
Yeah.
it's just like skill injectors. They just boiled the frog, when they released them. Oh, we'll never introduce new SP to the game, right? And then we'll give a little new SP, right? Like, and they just keep
Yeah.
adding, keep boiling the frog. Yeah, so you start out with Doctor Who. That's what like it's sci-fi. Eve players think it's cool. Well, then yeah, in 6 months it's Raid Shadow Legends, and then a year from now you're flying the Coca-Cola Galante cruiser.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm loving
and
chat. Sorry, like the
I think
crossover
they'll-
with Costco.
Yeah. I think they'll like monetize like skins and stuff too. I think I see
they're already
that in
doing
the
that.
future. But I mean with
Okay.
like companies.
Yes. Can we talk for a second? That's a great point. Because that's the easiest way to make money in this stupid game. Just
Yeah.
sell aesthetics. You've got
Yeah.
a great art team.
Every game
Sell
does it.
aesthetics.
Yeah.
They do skins.
Listen. You goons, how much you think fucking Mitani would open up the old wallet for if he could put a fucking
Alliance
bead
skins?
on the side of every keep star?
People keep saying
there's
that
a-
too.
There's
Big-
actually
Said this 30,000 times. Like
No,
it's been told to them 30,000.
they can't do it.
They cannot do it.
They no, it's a problem with their shader, and it'll be really heavy on the server to do that.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh. So
As
it-
the-
Let's not
as-
create more title. Let's forget about it.
Like that's gonna
Quick.
because
Before someone
Yeah.
picks
Scrap
up the
it.
idea.
Everyone forget. Never happened.
so like because they'll have to like if nah.
Matani would
It's
have
not
to
gonna work.
undock for skins
That's true.
to like.
That's fair.
He has to paint it by hand. That makes
I
it
mean
fair.
we've already got fighters and drones and all this shit in tie-dye. Let's just not make it even worse.
Yeah, see, Lord Omega, like that kind of shit's what I'm talking about too. Like in Jita, they're gonna have the billboard space is gonna be like real fucking in-game advertisements and stuff. That's the
think
kind of shit that I see.
they'll go one step further. Your UI will just have adverts like,
Yeah.
around your
Every time you die, you'll have to watch a
overview.
30-second fucking advertisement.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
The
UI
advert,
found
when,
Yeah.
when you type in the
Xfinity
chat,
Warp
you
Drive engaged.
have to have an advert before you can type back.
Xfinity Warp Drive.
oh my
Warp Drive
god.
powered by Xfinity.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, pay DLC to warp to gate. Otherwise, you have
Yeah.
to pay extra DLC. Oh my god,
That's
don't
the
say
kind
this.
of shit that I
Consume verification
Yeah,
can.
yeah, exactly. Upgrade to Omega to avoid ads. Exactly.
Mid
That's
warp
just-
ads. Oh my
Mid
god.
warp
I could.
ads. Oh god, no!
In my
don't
wildest
say that.
dreams, I couldn't have made that prediction.
Yikes.
Stop! We should stop talking. They're
Jimmy's like, let's do
they're
it.
Guys,
writing it
yeah.
down. They're writing this down. Someone's there, just like, go.
Like,
They're rubbing their hands together
Convenience
with Mr.
sake.
Burns right now.
This is the best thing ever. Like, in 10% tie dye
I'm about
adverts
to
in
get
warp.
hired.
Yeah, that's so
It's
much
gonna be there
ad time.
always.
We could show whole
Always
movies.
Like
Just-
watch a whole film. Yeah.
Just to loop back to a point that was made a little while ago. I wonder. So one of the impressions I've got is that CCP are not very good at decomposing whatever metrics they are gathering from the game into actually useful, actionable information. Because I wonder if they've done the analysis of how many of these players are returning because of the game that we've built, and how many of them are returning because their community has retained critical mass. Because if their community no longer retains critical mass, these players do not return. And that, I mean, I quit in 2009-10 because my community lost critical mass and died. I returned in 2018 because honestly, I was morbidly curious that the game was still running. I hadn't seen anything wildly impressive in terms of how the gameplay had moved forward, etc., etc.
What do you mean by critical mass? Just
Well, it
like,
depends
So-
on playstyle. I'd say.
able to do stuff. I mean, we
Yeah,
haven't
do
got
you-
critical
do you
mass
have
for
an FC?
years, but
Do you have a
Yeah, do
seed?
you have someone creating enough content for
Yeah.
the
No.
people who don't want to create
Well,
content?
But
that
then
are
there's
stitched
it's not
together?
just that, right? You need someone who's running or at least leading in logistics. You need someone who's like doing all of the corp admin stuff and like
All the shit that
all
other
the
people don't want to
pressing
do.
that's true.
flesh.
No,
Yeah.
we do have people doing that. One person does it all. Covert.
Yeah.
But yeah, I understand.
But
I
it's
mean-
it's one of the reasons that it's such a shame that it's so difficult to start a small and a medium group, because not only do you have all of the kind of the gameplay difficulties, but you also have the difficulty that you need these core like archetypal players to allow that group to grow, because otherwise it just sort of trundles along for a few months and fizzles. And we see it all the time in wormhole space, right, Mark? You know, you have someone new comes into the scene and they're like, you know, they've got big dreams and big ideas, and even if they know what they're doing, they get maybe 5-10 players, and then 3 months later the corp is gone and they've either gone somewhere else into another group or they're just gone from the game.
Yeah, I think it's you actually mentioned at the very end there the one of the two big problems is that it's hard for small groups in general to defend themselves against larger groups that have the weight to throw around. I mean, there's not a whole lot you can do. In wormholes, it's a little bit better because of the way mass mechanics work and being able to roll connections in case somebody sussy shows up. But out elsewhere in space, if you're a small group that feels like you're constantly getting bullied around by larger groups, and you don't want to do that, your choices are either to join a larger group or to quit playing, which isn't great. I don't know if I can say off the top of my head what the answer to that is. With my group, our answer was just to recruit more, and guys showed up and kind of liked what we were
That's
doing.
exactly what
just,
CCP is doing too now.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, and that's that it is what it is. But I think the other thing too is, and this is to address Cap's second point is, I mean that has been the issue with wormholes for like the last 2 years. Is that a lot of people have left because it became less fun to play the game, and then because of their friends leaving, a lot of other people left too. So, I mean, there was a period of time for a while where I thought about leaving the game because some of my friends weren't playing anymore. A lot of other people that I knew had gone off and joined other groups, and it just wasn't fun anymore. It's in a game that is so community focused like this, it is hard to overemphasize how important it is that people feel like the game is good. Game is a good way to be spending time with their friends and spending time with the people who they enjoy spending time with. And when that starts to break down, that's when you start to see those communities fall apart. And if enough of those communities fall apart, I mean, there are some people who will stop playing the game and then just stop playing the game. They won't go do anything else. They don't enjoy playing. I mean, there have been people who have left our group for one reason or another, and it's not like they've gone off and joined, a group that's bigger than ours or a group of comparable size to ours. They just stop, and that's not good. That is why there are so many empty wormholes right now. Is because groups, if the game's not fun for those groups, big ideas can only carry you so far, and then once the big ideas run out, it's just about gameplay, right? It's about how long can we continue to enjoy the
Activity.
game that it's in, right?
Yep. So. Activity is key in every group. Like, I think we always did a great job in it to just keep activity high, no matter if it's wartime, peacetime, or whatever. And you see some core or some groups, they just struggle with that. And then sometimes it's like that key figure. Like, let's say a Volta, if Mr. Starfleet Commander suddenly says, like, fuck this all, and just quits. Like,
It's over.
Could happen any day. But
what you do,
then someone has to pick it up. Is that someone ready? And is he in a position to pick it up? Are these guys
I'm trying to get him to do it, but he doesn't want to.
I mean, SFC had a really good point, too. And you're right. The game relies not just on, people who enjoy playing the game with their friends, but also people who are willing to actually do like work in game to create content, whether it's somebody who's a fleet commander or somebody who runs logistics or somebody who handles SRP on the back end or whatever, right? You need to have those people too who are committed to the game, and then you need to create an environment within the game that makes those people want to stick around, because when those people go, then everybody else is just left looking around at each other wondering why they're spending $15, $20 a month on this game that they barely play, right? Or they're sitting in a Discord chat with each other all day long, wondering like, why can't we just do this?
I mean, to be honest, like most like Volta, my group, and me, I don't really play. I think I just killed some stuff the other day, but I haven't run a fleet in ages, and neither is most of the FCs. But like, what keeps our group together is that the community, the Volta community, play other games. We don't just play Eve. We're just not just logging all day playing Eve. We like do Eve stuff and then just like play a lot of other games as well at the same time. And what you got to do is you keep expectations really low. So you do a fleet. It's amazing.
Like, wow,
That's what you do. Yeah, it's like, oh my god, there's this a fleet. I was like, yeah, we keep it really low, once a year maybe, and then everyone turns up to them. Like, but but to quickly go on about seriously about the game, creating content in this game is really time consuming now, and really like as we were saying early on, being an attacker is you're always at a disadvantage. For example, we deployed to fire during the war. Do you remember? I don't know if anyone remembered. Made like 0 impact. Oh yes, you were there. Yeah.
I tried to save you for me. Had some good fights, but
yeah, but like it was even then, like we come down with subs and everything. Like we are at a huge disadvantage. Like it's so difficult to be fighting against like defenders and stuff without moving our cap force. But we couldn't do that because obviously we'd be leaving our entire region undefended. So it's kind of like, well, we're sort of in the northwest right now. Like, okay, what do we do? The Frat to one side and Imperium to the other side. So okay, well, let's just go sit here and play League then.
All right.
I just wanted to pick up on the back of that point, because this is something that Mark will be able to corroborate. So I'm currently the owner of PraiseBob, which is like the big sort of town hall wormhole Discord. And one of the things that we really tried to do over the lockdowns was to expand the community scope from a Discord that is for wormhole players about wormhole space to a Discord for players that have played in wormhole space but do not necessarily play even Eve anymore. So we have a lot more channels devoted to other games, so people have this kind of like community address book of all of the people that they've been frenemies with, been friends with, been court mates with, been enemies with, and if they want to try out a new game, then they have this community to kind of pull from. It's really important to do that, I think, particularly as SFC was saying, when it's so difficult, not only to put in the work to generate content, because it was always difficult relative
Yeah,
to being a
obviously.
line member. But it has got a lot more difficult relatively. And also the content diversity that is available isn't so great as maybe once it was.
And also, like, there's, there's a lot of things that go into this, but like, I can only speak of my current situation. Is like, I said frat. We're next to frat, and they're all China time zone. It's like, well, we're all EU. Like, okay, what, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
their
Well, but,
EUTZ
you know.
can't beat us because we'll smash their EUTZ, and that's been established, and Norris knows that. He knows. He said it in his update. Like, that the EUTZ is not very good, and so we fought Bandalogs in off time zone during lockdown, and that was good fun. But like, Christ, we have to get up at like 8 in the morning because it's Siberian time or whatever. So the time zone tanking is real in Eve, as you know, Pando.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, but I don't see like a clear way of fixing that ever.
No,
really.
but before you just attacked.
Yeah, well, sure. I mean,
and then they had to be on. That's what it was like, wasn't it? You just the next
I think it's more complicated.
To
but I kind of want to come back to predictions because we're gonna run out of time, my guys. All right.
Okay.
Like, let's not get me triggered on Citadels and the time zone tanking, because then I can fill like 2 shows with that if you want. But yeah, I agree with what you say in general, but I don't think it's that easy to fix, right?
No, I'm not saying any of this is easy to fix,
No.
but it's a big issue. But
How do we even end up here?
Let's go to predictions.
What was the prediction that got us here? I've
Griffins.
Oh, that's how we got to Citadels again. God damn it! But yeah, who else has like a solid prediction?
A reasonable one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got 2. To your point of having one that's ridiculous and one that's decent. I think I'm actually gonna throw one of them out because we've already talked about it. I think that a 3rd T2 battleship is coming. I would really like them to, because they've already talked about battleship buffs in general, and I think that they are looking for ways to change up meta so they don't have to do anything with regards to the outlandish prices of capitals right now. I don't know if that's the best move, but that's the crazy thing. I think it is
another Tech 2 battleship.
Another Tech 2 battleship. Whether it's a the kind of mini facts that we've heard people talk about before, or something that is. Yeah, I've heard people.
Like no, don't stop.
So hacker ships are coming, guys.
Look at that.
I have heard people talk about a T2 battleship that is a bomber, which would be kind of gangster.
Oh, okay. So the heavy bomber thing, I think they've thrown that out though. But I mean, it's out there.
Well, it's like I said. I don't think that is. I don't know if that's a reasonable expectation, but I think there is going to be a 3rd T2 battleship at some point. And for reasonable expectation for 2022, Eve NFT card game.
I'm so scared that that's reasonable.
It's reasonable.
It seems reasonable. I would call it reasonable.
Oh,
That's
God.
what the Doctor Who game is, friends.
People have been talking
Yeah, I know.
about
I
card
saw that
games
post,
for a
but
while.
this has got Hilmar written all over it, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, NFTs are the new thing. We should go into that.
You know what would be a good idea, I think, is a NFT game for Eve.
Let's be fair though, like he was like in an interview and he just mentioned it, and he's like probably like up to date, like he just is always looking for like new shit to into, like he just mentioned it. I don't think there was like some deep thought behind that comment with the NFTs, and I think that's where 90% of the discussion like stems from. So I don't know.
How old do you think Hilmar is? Do you
I don't
Hilmar is boomer age.
I don't agree with that prediction. I don't think that's happening. I think the backlash right now, just the word NFT, the insane backlash it would cause if they would really do it like something like this.
Yeah.
I don't. think so.
They're doing it. They did it for the AT. Like
I will-
that's just to test the thing, and they'll do it again. They're gonna
Wait,
do
what
it
did they
again.
do for the AT?
They
The
released
NFT kill
The
mail.
NFT cards, the
kill
kill
mails.
mails.
Yeah.
I have NFTs of my character on them.
Yeah.
I'm not joking.
Oh, really?
real.
I wasn't even aware.
Yeah, there are
Yeah.
NFTs with my character on it, with like Duncan
Yeah.
Tanner as the killer from Hydra.
I had
Yeah.
no idea.
Oh, Pando, you're living under a rock.
Maybe it's more reasonable than I thought.
Like,
Shit.
yeah, this is the problem. It's scary. Oh,
I,
God.
I need somebody to tell me if Hilmar is within Boomer age. If you've got
Wait, let me
strong
find
energy.
my NFT.
He's
I'm gonna-
semi-boomer, I guess.
I'll swap that out then. I'll swap that out.
40s.
I'll say the most reasonable or the most unreasonable prediction I can come up with for 2022 is Eve support responding to one of my tickets.
That's,
Yeah.
I mean,
I've never
been a-
had that issue.
No,
Do you
sorry.
have an unanswered ticket?
I do have an unanswered ticket, and more importantly,
Wait.
Do you message them?
I did.
Can I-
More importantly, some friends of mine in a not small wormhole alliance had to wait for 3 months for them to respond to a
similar thing.
and it was a alliance logo change submission. They did not have an alliance logo. And
How
they were
important is it?
eligible.
I mean, you know,
I mean, but
So,
it's the
I wanna say,
principle of
I-
the thing.
I
Yeah,
get
no.
it. I get it.
Pando,
I have to
in
say,
chat.
though, just like a couple of days ago, I had to actually, get one of my account's password reset.
Mhm.
And I tell you what, guys, never get banned, even if it's on accident and if they're wrong and shit. There's going to be issues after that, okay? Because
Uh-huh.
apparently those accounts that were banned for a while, or like, for 2 weeks there, there's some settings and whatnot that, and then you don't get your fucking code sent to you, right? So you're activating your
They just like
two-factor
eat your
authentication
email
code.
from the system, kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't know what happens there, but then you have to talk to them. Then the first guy obviously doesn't know what's up. He's like, yeah, just check your code, and like, and you have to tell him like, no, I do everything like this, and it's probably like this and this. But I have to say, I instantly got help when it comes to account issues, like login issues, and you're stuck and stuff. They tend to be very fast with that kind of stuff. We also had like a fleet stuck at one point with a weird bug with Abyssal mods. I'm not sure if the bug's still in the game. But
Well,
they did
there you go.
fix that within hours. So
For my
So-
sake, I hope you're right. But it's been a couple days, and I guess we'll see.
So Pando, if you look in chat, and I'll send it to you. Like that is my NFT for an NFT of my account, my character being killed.
I believe you. It's not like I
And
don't
it's
believe
like,
you if you
what-
say so.
Yeah, but it's just like what are they doing? What is this?
What
Just
are
gonna-
those?
Who asked for this? No one.
I'm just gonna right click and
Yes, right
save
click.
and-
Everybody right click, save the image, and there
save
we go.
image as. There we go. This
Sorted.
is my NFT now.
I just, now do you
You
think
guys
that it's
see
a
that?
bit worrying? Because as Mark said, like on the Doctor Who thing, like a guy posted right from their like Reddit saying that there was like that card game that they or something, was it, Mark? Like what was the thing?
Yeah, so there's a Doctor Who NFT card game that was out either within the last year or so, and people were talking about how they were able to leverage that IP into that kind of like card game sort of deal, and that the intention was
Right.
to sort of use the same kind of technology for. I didn't read too deep into it. I saw the words Doctor Who NFT card game, EVE Online, and
Solid
had a stroke
prediction.
and collapsed
Yeah,
on
I
the
think
ground.
that's a solid
Illuminati.
prediction. To be honest, good prediction. I like it.
I mean, I
Uh,
don't like it, but it's
Yeah, I mean it sucks. Yeah,
Really?
I mean
It sucks, but it's
it
probably
sucks,
real.
but it is.
It's
Maybe
gonna
we should
happen.
make the FC chat cards NFTs. How about that?
Oh my god.
Do it. Do
Here's
do
what's
it.
You're
here's
now you've been infected, Pando. This is what happens.
I thought I heard NFTs are the newest shit. We gotta do it. We gotta go with
Gotta
the
make money
time.
somehow.
Yeah.
Here's what's so frustrating about everything we've talked about so far,
Mm-hmm.
right? The most frustrating thing about it is that any developer any developer of any other game could walk into the situation that CCP is in right now and think that they have been given a godsend, right? You have a community of players that's been around for almost 20 full years in a lot of cases, right? People who've been playing this game for
Loyal
ages.
fan base.
Yeah, loyal fan. I started playing this game when I was 13. Like I was
Yeah.
just a kid, and and here we are now, and I'm
You're a
huge and
beautiful looking
awful.
15-year-old.
Are you even allowed to?
Thank you. Yes, it was last year. I'm the worst aging 13-year-old on earth. Anyway, you're given all these tools. You have a beautiful game, a robust art department, a rich and storied history within the game, created by people like the people in this room. Like these incidents that have happened in the past, these storylines that have developed, didn't develop necessarily because of meddling by the developers. They developed because of this player base that you have worked so hard to create.
Supported in part by viewers like you.
Supported in part by viewers about yes, exactly. Thank you. And you're given all of these assets, and I think anybody else will look at this and be like, "Oh my God, this is a treasure trove." Think of the things we could do here. Like that, all we need to do is make a couple of small adjustments over the course of. It doesn't need to be immediate. Say that, okay, we're going to work on Citadels. It's going to take a year. Okay, I think if they came out tomorrow and said, "Look, we understand Citadels are kind of a problem. We're going to work on it. It's going to take a full year."
I won't believe them.
Well, they did put it in there, right?
Even if they say that, it doesn't matter.
I understand, but what I'm saying is, if they had come out and did that at some point in the past, yes, there is work that needs to be done at this point on the trust factor. I get that.
They did the post.
Yeah, at least step one is admitting you have a problem.
Well,
they did the post, and then this Doctor Who thing came out.
Yes,
what?
But what if they came back? What if they came back and said, "Listen, we read the post. We've been thinking about it for the last couple of months. We recognize that you're not happy with this, the way things are right now, and we want to strive to improve." And then started making changes immediately, not big changes. Let's say they wanted to, let's test this thing in the test server and get people's feedback on it, and do this and that. I think I think if you started doing small things that would eventually lead to bigger things, people would start to be like, okay, this is we are seeing change that we can trust over time.
Yeah.
Right. We're not seeing any of that. In fact, we're not seeing a whole lot from CCP at all. I mean, I don't know what their public responses have been to a lot of the feedback that they've gotten recently. I can't imagine there's been a lot of it at all, or if it's been positive. But those are the kind of things I feel like, again, any other developer would look at that and be like, oh my gosh, there's so much that we can do here. This is such a valuable asset for us to have. And it's disappointing to me that, the developers and there are plenty of great people who work at CCP, and I'm sure none of them are bad people. I think a lot of them have just, either whether because it's corporate meddling or because it's, losing sight of, what the big picture is, have kind of ended up in this place where they're working on developing a game that for the most part, a lot of people don't want to play. And they're playing the game in its current state because it's not that game yet, but we're headed in that direction. And that's kind of disappointing.
Yeah. All right. Asher, how about your predictions? Asher fell asleep. Okay.
I get knocked down, but I get up again. You ain't ever going to keep me down. Have you guys ever heard another song by Chumbawamba?
Tub Thumpin'.
That was the song. That was their only song.
Another song? No.
EVE Online is the Chumbawamba video games. They had one really excellent thing. CCP made one really good thing. They keep trying to follow up their one-hit wonder. And now, and they never do, because everyone just loves tub thumping. So now you're getting Doctor Who tub thumping crossovers, tub thumping NFTs. You're just gonna milk as much blood from the stone as you can of tub thumping, because everything Chumbawamba does after that has failed. And
I mean,
the problem is,
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I mean, it's like any big band eventually finds out when it gets down to a certain point, when you have concerts and shows and stuff, nobody wants to hear your experimental shit. Like, play the hits. Everybody wants to hear the hits.
Unless the experimental shit's good.
I'm just going to tell you guys a story. It has nothing to do with Eve, but you're going to listen to me anyway. My friend got in a fight with his girlfriend, and so he's like, you want to come see Panic at the Disco with me? And I'm not a big Panic at the Disco fan, but I'm like, whatever. So I went. And they had that one song, that one big hit song, and it was so clear the lead singer hated that song because when they played it, he did like a jazzy version that took like 90 seconds to do. And I knew this guy was a huge douchebag when I saw that his stage setup had every instrument doubled. There were 2 basses, 2 pianos, 2 guitars for each person. There was 2 of everything. And during each song, he would run to the musician that was playing that part when they were playing the good part, make them stop, and he would play it. Like, he'd run over to the piano and tell the piano guy to stop while he played this piano bit. I've never seen someone more annoying and indulgent than the Panic at the Disco lead singer. Do not give them money, thank you. That is my prediction.
Is that your prediction? Your prediction is
Fuck
like,
Panic at the Disco.
fuck Panic at the Disco,
Yeah.
fuck them.
My
Crossover,
prediction
Panic Disco.
is that CCP will not change their course much. We're going to be playing Doctor Who online from now on, and people are too addicted to this game to do anything about it. That's what they believe. I think it's probably true. This game's sort of in a slow death spiral. The only thing that'll save it is sort of a player, led war or intervention or something like that. But that can only last
Mutiny!
so long. Yeah.
What's happening? People just
God
already.
damn it.
Oh, Asher, you subbed?
We need some positivity.
I am not sub. No.
Asher's not subbed. There we
Yeah.
go.
Listen,
Sorted.
I said last year during the
It's got a
CSM
fork.
race,
Oh god.
I said last year during the CSM race that if the players of EVE Online get me onto CSM, then I'm going to fly to Iceland, walk into that meeting with the developers in nothing but a bathrobe. And as they start to, they proceed to roll out their very bad ideas.
Are you
Also,
gonna put it on the glass?
I'll pull the leg up slowly,
Uh-huh.
a little
Start
bit
spreading
at
your
a time.
legs apart
Just
just a
start to
little bit.
spread just a little bit, just to kind of give them just the fear, just for a second. They can no, he's not going to do it, and then I'll do it, and then they'll all see.
So are you you're going to sexually assault EVE Online developers if you
That's
get
what
elected?
that's what I'm hearing.
Wait a second. Was it a prediction?
Is that your own prediction? Yeah.
Listen,
Technically
it
sexually
was
harass, but
in a
you know.
hypothetical dream
Yeah,
I
there you go.
had one time. That was a thing that happened. It's not legally binding.
Uh-huh.
All right, let's move on.
I think who else hasn't predicted?
Wait
I
a second.
think
Wait a
one.
second. I haven't put my prediction on, and it's
yeah.
actually my bold prediction was actually kind of similar to Mark's with the battleships, because my bold prediction is the return of the nullsec battleships.
Oh, God,
That
please.
that we're gonna see battleship fleets again, and I'm saying that battleships are the preferred ship type for like bigger fights instead
How?
of hex. I mean,
Let me.
how? That's not part of my prediction, but if I had the choice, I would say, because battleships
So
get
much needs to
buffed.
happen for that to happen, and it's not going to happen.
That's why it's a bold prediction and not the.
I've
not an
got
easy-
a. I also had a battleship related prediction, but this might be a little bit specific. I think they're going to try and give the battleship something similar to the Hax ADC. It won't be
Oh.
an ADC, and I don't think it's a good design direction at all. As I didn't think the ADC was.
We
but
could
I
call it the
suspect
signature
that's what they're
suppressor.
Oof.
gonna-
No.
What I think they're going to do, or rather, if I had to conceive of a battleship like ADC like device, what I would do is I would have a thing that is specifically good against bombing runs and volley damage. So I'd have something that basically on receiving damage above a threshold would bump the resistances by a few %, and it would stack a number of times, and each of those stacks would decay very quickly.
What?
Wait a
But
second.
how is
bad-
that going to work?
But how
Do you guys
bad
know
would
the
it
most
be?
unlucky person on a battleship fleet is? It's when you form a battleship fleet, it takes 30 minutes. Then it takes another 45 minutes to get to your location. And the first guy that they primary after that hour and 15 minutes, he gets to be in the battle for about 10 seconds. And then he's back at base.
No.
That is the most unlucky
That's
person
not
in a
true,
battleship fleet.
Asher. Stop spreading lies. That's fake news. He's going to be in an assault frig first, right?
Oh, it's true.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Let me ask you to clarify
die
your bold
twice.
prediction. Your bold prediction, real quick, Pando. Would you foresee, like the same kind of range meta in your nullsec battleship reemergence, or you see brawling battleships in nullsec?
I would say, if I had a wish, right? I would. It's not just one little change that will push battleships into that spot. So what
Yeah,
I would
Pando?
one idea we were thrown around like a couple times was like that the minimum warp range would increase, so you have 300, and then battleships could get above 2 range, because then, you know, they're actually made for battles, and battles are chaotic and big, you know, and you can reach around the battlefield instead of like Hex being very specific. You can, you know, you can go to work at this specific. Well, if you compare to 300k,
do everything.
1 second, no. I mean, the damage application would then be specific if the battle is like across a 300k like radius, and you're in the middle of a battleship, and you can reach everything. That's kind of nice.
You just move.
Yes, sure. Yeah, sure.
Just walk to your fleet with your Maminans and kill you.
Hey, wait.
This is very important.
Obviously.
Did you guys notice that after Mark did his sexual fantasy about going to CCP, he's been sensually spinning a fork for the last 10 minutes ever since he shared his fantasy with us?
Why?
He's not listening to the stream anymore. He's see, look, he's not even there. He's having a moment.
But to come back to the battleship thing, obviously it would include a hack change to a degree. Be it, you know, I don't know. Maybe they lose some speed.
Make it so ADCs can't use micro warp drives.
Maybe ADCs, like, you know, there's a couple of things you can go about it. But, you know, my bold prediction is that battleships will be a go-to doctrine again for nullsec fights.
I think that CCP needs to just change the amount of time that they change things in sort of big strokes, because the problem isn't that hacks are bad, because hacks are just as bad as Macarios were, right? And Macarios are as bad as Tengus were. It's that what is bad is that there becomes to be one solution and it doesn't change. And the problem is there's been no dev work for like 2 years now, so hacks have been that for so long. People just hate flying them.
There's just no increment though, Asher, is there? There's no increment balance changes that used to happen in EVE Online. The development cycle has changed.
Exactly.
You look at all the other games that exist today. I mean, we all talk about League of Legends before, but Dota, whatever. All there's always changes coming. There's always balances going on and fixes, and there's always things happening to change the game and refine it and make it better. And they don't do that anymore. And now it's all just Invasion and Abyssal and Doctor Who convergence.
And people like me and Sando, and there's lots of people, but people like that who like to come up with like new ideas, like innovative stuff. When there's no changes, there's no new ideas to be found in those changes. And so the people who get excited about trying out new things, I know PGL is just like this too. There's lots of people like this, right? They come up with like, oh, I found out the secret sauce, right? And I'm gonna take the guys out and we're gonna try it. Like that's the kind of thing where it gets people in space because people are excited. And it's these kind of knock-on changes that you don't think about, where, you know, we're not making changes that shouldn't really affect our players, but it does. It really does.
I think too, I mean, the biggest problem with the way that they've done changes in like the last 2 years or so, last 2 or 3 years, with them being, you know, effectively rolling out big changes every so often as opposed to smaller changes more frequently, is that you don't, like, you know, when you talk about balancing a game or balancing any kind of system, you want to find a place where multiple different systems are, you know, feasible. If not, you know, there's always going to be one that kind of rises to the top. But you have a bunch of different options that are kind of in the same spot, but they don't balance for that. They sort of balance for like appeal. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. They get an idea in their head of, oh, this sounds like a great idea, and they, you know, make one change, and then all of a sudden one thing is good and everything else is untenable, right? So you reach this, you know, this, like the situation we have right now with hacks. You make a great point. Hacks are great.
There'll always be one on top though, Mark. There's always going to be something that's the best,
right?
But
the
best.
You could still work to a place where,
but you can work around it though. That's what's changed,
right?
Like well, there's loads of combinations of Surgical Strike, which I think was the worst, one of the worst patches they've ever done ever, just in my opinion. I think it was one of the worst patches they've ever done in the entire history of this game, and killed any sort of ability to not die.
Yes.
When you're outnumbered.
That reminds me of my reasonable prediction, actually. Because my reasonable prediction is CCP announces a patch with a cheesy tagline that doesn't make sense. Because we had the Brawler's Paradise, which is the patch you're just talking about. Then you had the Scarcity Breeds Conflict, right? What else did we have?
Autarky is anathema. I want to chant that over and over. I
What's
love
the most
hearing that in
recent
every
one,
patch.
Ben?
Which one?
The Age of Prosperity.
Yes,
Oh,
Age of
Yeah.
prosperity when there's no prosperity.
And this is
yeah.
this is the thing. I came on this show and I was thinking, Christ, all that it's so depressing. I'm sorry, it is like
War Bolt with
everything,
love.
just
Fuck.
all the devlogs and all the posts and everything. It's just like God. It's just nothing has changed.
I feel like
it's just going down.
feels like everyone here lost a war. Like that's what it feels like. We've all lost the
Yeah,
war.
mentally.
Yeah.
Like
Mm.
Well,
Yeah.
we lost the
Lost
war.
it.
We lost the war, but then the victors didn't do us the pleasure of putting us out of our misery. So we're just kind of like laying around injured. I guess.
Yeah.
I guess we're
There's
just
no
here.
medic. There
Yeah,
is no
we're just-
medic.
We're just
And-
dying. This is fine.
And you know,
Since
I
from scratch.
like as like hosting a podcast about Eve. Like obviously, I would love to just keep it super positive and everyone's just like super hyped about the game. But man, like we can't fake it, right? We are passionate about the game, and if the right changes come, it's like people like us that will fucking pick up the
There's
pace
one
and get some
thing-
activity into the game. But
There's one thing that is
Man.
keeping me playing this game, and that is the Alliance tournament, and that is it. And that's the only reason I was so. That's the one thing in last year that I actually liked. I was like, yes, I can actually play a format that is good and hasn't changed that much in the last 10 years. So I was, it's my consistent go-to PvP.
and you guys did great on the Alliance tournament.
Thank you. We did okay. Did alright.
Well, you got third place, right? Wasn't it? Were you
Got
second?
second.
Oh, yeah, you were second actually.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why did I think?
It's
oh,
fun
no.
fact. Fun
Yeah,
fact.
yeah,
I played
sorry.
in none of the games up until we got to that point, and then when I played in the games, we lost every game, and then we came second.
Hmm.
So
How does that make you feel?
think of that. What you think? Either my team are so scared of playing with me because I'm just amazing, and they will just play terribly, or I'm really bad at Eve.
Hmm.
Probably the latter.
I mean, those aren't mutually exclusive, right?
That's true. Yeah, it was a the AT is good, and there'll be a tournament at FanFest as well, PP tournament.
You
But
did quite well at the London one, right?
tournament.
I seem to
Oh, yeah,
recall
we-
you winning.
we won. I won. That's why I'm going to FanFest. That's why I asked, is anyone going to FanFest? Because I'm good.
Pat, are you going to FanFest?
No, we already talked about it. Probably not.
Ah,
I'm probably not going to
yeah.
be there. It just,
I'm going to FanFest. So
it's probably not going to work out.
Why
but-
are you going to FanFest? Like you seem like you're like literally 2 steps away from broadcasting for reps.
He wants to go and
Because-
punch God.
because I'm being flown out there to play in the tournament. I'm not
Important question. Are you bringing a bathrobe?
me.
Yeah.
No, I thought about when I play on the stage, I get my laptop out and then play another game.
Excuse me, so that is my. intellectual
Sorry, I just need
property
to
after.
play a different game. Yeah, I'll be taking a bath road. Yeah, of course.
Now,
So
do
you're
we have
going
any?
for free.
Yeah, because we won me and Annie, my co-captain of the tournament team, Vault team.
Oh,
we
yeah,
won the
the-
Eve London, the invasion tournament
I have no idea
like,
what you're talking about, but it sounds
ages
nice.
ago.
You get
Don't
paid
you
to go
remember
to it.
in
It
2000?
was so long ago. Like, and then
2019.
yeah, and then like
What?
it. Yeah, and then it got like, and then we
Yeah,
we all
FanFest
won,
was
and then we
cancelled.
yeah, and then we got all the flights got booked and everything got booked, and then COVID happened and it all got cancelled. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, do we have any predictions? Miranda, do you still have one?
I made mine already.
Oh, both of them. Okay.
I only did a reasonable one.
Okay.
which is
What's
the
your
soft.
bold prediction? Is it
The
a?
bold
Is it,
w-
wait a second. Is it a positive one or a negative one?
I mean,
You gotta.
what
you
do
gotta,
you think, Pando?
You gotta lift up the mood here. All right. Then hit us.
I'm gonna say that there's gonna be. That's not even bold. I'm just gonna think there's gonna be more microtransactions in Eve, and like just that it's money, ads, DLC,
I have
Omega.
one.
You gotta be more
know,
specific when it's a bold
I don't
prediction.
know. I'm trying to
Let's
think
do
of
this.
like because I had one earlier on, but
The
then we got
mid-warp ads.
sidetracked. Mid-warp ads. Yeah, fuck
Such
it.
a
I'll say that. Mid-warp ads.
Here's my bold prediction for you, Pando. I think CCP loses a lot of money in the fourth quarter, and it continues to go down. they have a come to Jesus moment where they're like, okay, maybe we need to turn the way we're doing this around, or we're going to lose the one cash cow that lets us do all these other projects that we want to do. And they'll start reinvesting some of that money back into the game. And EVE will actually turn back to being the kind of game that a lot of us like to play, and that encourages a prosperous growth cycle. And we might actually see a year from now EVE being in a better place than it is right now.
I love that.
Man,
that's so
all
nice.
right. I'm gonna put down. They're gonna announce Project Nova. It's gonna be Project whatever, right? It's a different name now. That game is gonna be the absolute greatest MMO shooter the world has ever seen. And then there's gonna be 1 million players coming over to EVE. And then everyone forgets about the issues because everyone is busy shooting ibises and condors all day, right? Starfleet Commander can't even breathe anymore because he's so busy calling targets, right? That's my bold prediction then.
There's too many people. I'll say my actual bold prediction is that this convergence time TARDIS thing is that we're all going to go back to 2011, and we're going to go back to the old way of the server, and the old thing, and we're going to go back there, and they're going to do a RuneScape and a WoW. They're going to do the same thing. That's what they're going to do.
EVE Classic, Dominion Salt Bait.
EVE Classic. Yes.
Oof. No, I don't think that's happening.
Do it, and I'm logging on there.
I want to make one more positive prediction before we go too. And this is specifically for my people. Won't mean anything to anybody else in this room except for Cap. And that's, I think, positive, realistic prediction. I am praying to God CCP fixes filaments for wormholes in 2022. I think it's reasonable. I think it would be easy. I think it make a lot of people happy. I think they'll do it accidentally.
How do you fix it? So you can't filament out of wormholes?
Correct. Right now, you can effectively Pochvan filament everything up through an orca out of a wormhole.
Oh my god!
Can you still do it while you're in a bubble?
I didn't even know that, and that sounds bullshit.
You can still do it while you're bubbled.
That is my. I mean, I'm gonna say this. I've never done it myself. I'm not sure. I don't want to speak as if I know for a fact. I feel like that's something that somebody would have mentioned already, but I'm pretty sure you can filament period. The bigger issue is that, let's say you're getting evicted, or you're an attacker. You show up somewhere, you do your big attack, and then you are unable to achieve what you wanted to achieve. At that point in the past, you had to scan your way out of the hole or self-destruct. Right, both options that would either provide content or be a cost to you. Now you don't have to do that. All you have to do is undock.
That's bullshit. Yeah.
Warp to a safe, align, and then press a button, and you're immediately whisked away to a place where there's no content, and you're perfectly safe for 15 minutes, and then you can go back to GDEM. And I hope God, please hear my prayer that CCP fixes this in 2022. I don't care. They don't even need to announce it. I don't want to know. I just want it one day to try and do it, and they're like, no, you can't do that anymore. And I'm like,
I didn't even know that was a thing, and that's really dumb.
It fucking sucks. It's the worst.
It's so obvious, and it's like a day one. Oh yeah, fuck, we forgot about this kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's like let's say you take
a week and fix it.
You take a fleet to go evict somebody, and you don't do the work that you need to do to prepare your numbers, and they're able to kind of throw you out, and you're like, oh fuck, well that didn't go well. Well, honestly, the fleet that just reproached you, they should be able to come back and be like, no, that your loot is mine now. This is this stuff that you have brought into my space. It is now mine. Instead, you can just be like, nah, and leave, and that sucks. I hate it, and I'm molding.
Also, Mark, are you descending into darkness?
Yeah, I mean, it's
just the stream is just he's gone. In another hour, you're in the void.
Here, hang on, I'll fix
it. We are at 1.5 hours, so that's kind of usually where we end it. Does anyone have like a big prediction he wants to get rid of?
Gigax is coming back.
Gigax is coming back.
The new DLC.
Wait a second. He had a lifetime ban though, right? Or was it a couple years?
I want Gigax back. Free Gigax.
I've got
one back in the game. We need more people that are mental to do something crazy.
I predict in 2022 I'm going to bat phone Panda for something. He's going to show up. Nothing will happen. And give me the light bullshit. Don't worry about it in the world, and then leave.
It happened to me before with Warm Waters.
FC
so.
packs with DLC.
Yeah, it happened to you with me. It was
Yeah.
me, Pando.
Yeah, well, you weren't the only one. That happened.
I
to
know,
me.
but still.
Big
with other people.
prediction. Pocket fleets. You can just buy pocket fleets. You want your own fleet? You just buy one, and you just get 200 ships.
You can just bat phone NPCs.
You just bat phone your own NPC fleets
Oh,
to every
shit.
fight you want to go to.
Bat
Pocket
NPCs,
Bat
please.
phone
Holy
filaments.
fuck.
Yeah, just like
That's
you
a
know,
bold prediction.
like you go to
Oh,
Jitter and you
God.
can buy like different sizes. 20-man gang, 50-man gang, super fleet. You want a Pantheon fleet? No worries, mate. That will cost you some money, but we can get one for you.
That'd be
So in
insane.
every, and then
Oh
you
my
just
god.
you don't even have to. There's no players anymore. You just have NPC fleets.
Yeah, Batphone fucking Apollo Tyrannus to DD people in grid, no big deal.
Exactly. Or just do what
Alrighty.
CCP does and just spawn stuff in low sec for stuff to kill. What? Sorry.
That is,
Who said that?
whatever. But Miranda wrote down all the predictions, I believe.
Well, most of them.
And like if we missed one or two, whatever, we could go back, at the end of next year or whatever. But the plan is that at the end of next year or this year, we will have a look. Let's see who was right with something, right? Let's see who nailed it. And
Horrifying.
yeah, I kind of hope nobody does. Besides,
someone's
some
right.
changes were, some predictions were kind of nice. So let's hope the positive ones turn out to be true. But yeah, guys, I would say let's end it right here. All right. Thanks
Sounds
a lot
good.
for
Thank
coming
you.
on, everyone.
Appreciate it, Pando.
Thanks for
Always
having
fun.
me.
Yeah, it was good fun. Hope
Nice
you
chance.
guys on stream also enjoyed it. And yeah, thanks for hanging out. And see you guys on the next one. Alrighty. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.